This second week of Advent has us looking at the theme of peace. We dream God's dream of a world at peace, where enemies are reconciled, where we discover the well-worn path of love and grace. Prince of Peace, hold us. Prince of Peace, sustain us. Prince of Peace, heal us. We dream God's dream of our hearts at peace, where anxiety and terror do not reign, where fear is quenched, it's banished. Prince of Peace, hold us. Prince of Peace, sustain us. Prince of Peace, heal us. We dream God's dream of our minds at peace, where clamoring voices are stilled, where clear thinking breathes, where rest, deep rest is found. Prince of Peace, hold us. Prince of Peace, sustain us. Prince of Peace, heal us. We dream God's dream of our community at peace, where love wins, where grace abounds, where we flourish. Prince of Peace, hold us. Prince of Peace, sustain us. Prince of Peace, heal us. As we think about peace, let's look to a prophecy that Zechariah spoke out. It's recorded in Luke chapter 1, 68 to 75. Praise be to the Lord, the God of Israel, because he has come to his people and redeemed them. He has raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he said through his holy prophets of long ago, salvation from our enemies and from the hand of all who hate us, to show mercy to our ancestors and to remember his holy covenant, the oath he swore to our father Abraham, to rescue us from the hand of our enemies and to enable us to serve him without fear in holiness and righteousness before him all our days. And now Zechariah looks to the womb of his wife, where his little child is still being formed, yet to be born. And he says, you, my child, will be called a prophet of the Most High, for you will go on before the Lord to prepare the way for him. He's speaking of who we would come to know as John the Baptist, to give his people the knowledge of salvation through the forgiveness of their sins because of the tender mercy of our God, by which the rising sun will come to us from heaven to shine on those living in darkness and in the shadow of death. And listen to this, to guide our feet into the way of peace. Guide our feet into the way of peace. Shalom. From the root shalom, to be safe in mind, body, or estate, means completeness, fullness, the opposite of scarcity, soundness, well-being, a wholeness that encourages you to give back. As Jesus would say, freely we've received, freely we give. We are so at peace and unanxious. We are liberated to generously repay. It's the opposite of a spirit of poverty. Inward completeness resulting in an outward wholeness to the point of the absence of war. Guide our feet into the way of peace. Guide in the Greek here is only used 3 times in the New Testament, here and twice by Paul. And in all 3 occurrences, it emphasizes God's guidance. In the Septuagint, which is the Greek translation of Hebrew, it's the Old Testament, the word is linked to the understanding to keep one straight, to keep one moving in the right direction, to be guided. We need God's guidance. We are prone to wander from this path of peace. We need to lean in, to lean on, step by step. if we are led away from peace, from peaceableness, from kindness and generosity and gentleness, from being peacemakers, we have actually left the way of Jesus. No matter how much we opine, no matter how right we think we are, no matter what opinions we have, no matter what perspective we take, if we've left the way of peace, we've left the way, and God is no longer the one who is guiding us. James 3:17 says, the wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere. We need God's guidance. We are prone to wander from the way of peace. We need his leadership, step by step. The way of peace in our mind, peace of mind. We need God's guidance to be at rest in our soul, peace in our souls. We need God's guidance in our bodies, that our bodies would be at peace, free from tension, free from anxiety. We need God's guidance. We're prone to wander from this path, the path of peace. Lean in, lean on, step by step. Mind, soul, body, and spirit. The peace of spirit. We need God to guide us here. Peace with my surroundings. Peace with my neighbor. Peace with even my enemies. 1 Thessalonians 5:23 says this. Now, may the God of peace himself sanctify you entirely, and may your spirit and soul and body be preserved complete. Complete peace, perfect peace, step by step by step. We say, God, guide our feet into the way of peace. There will be no ultimate peace, neither in our inner life nor in any sphere of our relationships, without motion, though, without rhythm, without engaging in what it takes to move towards peace. That's the risky bit. At a certain point, steps must always be taken, often towards, sometimes away to keep the peace. There will be times it is on behalf of another. This shatters the crippling, lethargical effects of regret. It breaks the chokehold of shame. It is learning the deft movement of the wisdom of the serpent and the gentleness of the dove as we navigate scenarios that are even hostile and even at times dangerous to us, but we can maintain and sustain the way of peace. Guide our feet into the way of peace. Not just our attitudes, our approach. Guide our feet. Help us walk out as peacemakers. Old Testament faith is characterized as a clear path. God's people are to follow the path, to stay on the right path. It's not by accident that the early church, in the early church, they were called the people of the way. The tender mercy of our God, by which the rising sun will come to us from heaven to shine on those living in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet into the way of peace.